Layered die cuts seem to be not very creative. That is what Barbara at 49 Dragonflies said during our last live stream we did together on YouTube. And this whole thing ended up in a bet. And that's why I'm here today with this video, to prove her wrong. But for all of you who haven't seen the live stream, let's quickly make a little time travel a few days back and let's watch together what happened in the stream. To be honest, I sold my jelly plate.
What?
Yep,
What?
I hate it. It's absolutely
You
terrible.
hate it?
Yep, I hate jelly printing. I'm really sorry, but I have faster and, for me, easier and better solutions than using a jelly plate. It stresses me completely. I hate it. I love seeing it in other streams or in other videos. I love seeing your results, for example, these things with the jeans you made a while ago, or also the prints you have made over the weekend now. I love that, and I love seeing that, but I hate that. Then you have to wait until it's dry, and then it takes forever. Can't handle that.
Okay, I'm speechless. This is news to me. You didn't prepare me for this.
But for example, this, it could have 150 layers per animal, and I would do that. You could wake me up in the middle of the night and say, I need 500 dragonflies, and each of those has 120 layers, and I say, give me the machine, give me the paper, which color do you want? For me, that is so meditative. Yeah.
This is incredible. That is something I can never do. I don't have a single multi.
Okay, so before we go on, let's quickly talk about what is a layered die cut. So perhaps you have never seen a set like this, or perhaps you don't know what that is. I'm working with this set here today, which is by Zizix and Tim Holtz. The number is 665364, and it has these cute little animals. And each of these has several different layers. So you can also already immediately see that on the package. Here, this black layer is the first layer. Then you have this yellow layer, which is a second piece. And then you have this, so that this little guy here is made from a total of 3 layers. Let me quickly show you that. That is this pile here. So I have already cut out multiple of these so that you don't have to watch me cutting these out. So this is the first layer. This is then supposed to go on here as a second layer. And then the wings are the third layer, which can then go on here. This is obviously not very accurate now, but I think you can imagine how this is supposed to assemble if you want to have it exactly like it is on the package here. So this is a layered die cut. It's a die cut which is made from different layers. Yeah. So then this whole discussion went further, and we talked about why Barbara doesn't like those layered die cuts. So let's watch that.
Can I tell you one of the other reasons why I don't like those multi-layers? And I'm sure you're going to have a good answer for that.
Yeah.
So one reason is because of the detailed work and this stupid gluing of all these tiny parts.
Yeah.
But the other reason is when I look at these, and please contradict me on that, but my impression is that it's not very creative because it's everything is all I know. That's why I'm telling you this, because I know you're gonna have another opinion on this, but that's why I want to put it out there, because just seeing this and you just have to glue one on top of the other. Yes, you can choose colors, you can add different sprays and blah blah blah, different techniques on them, but for me that's not creative. It's already too done for me. You know what I mean? Can you relate to that at all? I know there's different ways of doing things, and you especially are the queen of doing things in a different way.
This was the point where I already had this video in mind, not knowing that we will end up with a bet, but I was struggling with my answer there so much, and I was, trying to think about that right in that moment, because I thought, can I perhaps show Barbara, and of course you as well, in a video that I think the extreme opposite of what Barbara thinks. And that is why I'm here today. We ended up with a bet in the live stream. So that means this video is to convince Barbara that layered die cuts can be creative. And I would like to show my way of using those die cuts. Just a little note, you can do that with single layered die cuts as well. What I'm doing here today, that doesn't have to be a set like this, but our bet is if I can convince her, she will get a set and, you know, use layered die cuts as well. If she, after watching this video, carefully, Barbara, carefully, not eating, not running somewhere, not cleaning the room, not reading a book, yeah, sitting there and watch the video. I'm just kidding. If I can't convince her, I will get a jelly plate after I had sold my other jelly plate. And I'm really hoping that I can do this here today and that she is going to be convinced in the end. I would love if you want to join me, perhaps you are with my opinion as well, and perhaps you think layered die cuts are amazing and you can do a lot with that, then please craft along with me and post your results on social media so that Barbara can see that as well. And of course, I want to see that as well. So don't be shy. Take out your die cuts, create something. Perhaps you also want to follow along my video here. Perhaps you also think they are boring, then follow along and take them out, cut something out, and perhaps in the end you are convinced that these things are really, really, really amazing. So let's do this. So the first thing which I wanted to show you is how they come. So I have to admit, there are different kinds of sets when you have these layered die cuts. But in this specific case, it's like that. All of the layers you need for one animal are on one die cut thing. Yeah, so you can run this through your machine and then you have all of the layers you need for this one animal. It is really, really easy, and also with the others. I mean, throw them to your machine. If you want to have die cuts, you have to use your machine. Yeah, so there's no other way, obviously. But this I really like because then you can also organize them really well. I like to sit down and cut for a whole evening, for example, or let's say several evenings, half an hour a day or so that I already have my components cut out. And then later on I can sit here and I have my components already without the need of taking out my die cut machine and without the need of cutting before I can create. That, to me, is really, really important and really helpful so that I don't have to spend my time while my head is, that I don't have to spend my time cutting while my head is already running around with ideas. Do you know what I mean? Then I like to store them in little sleeves. These are just the original packages from Sizzix where my die cuts originally were in when I bought them. And then, you know, I have them in these little things with this magnetic plate. It's just a sticker so that they can't fall off. And I have then all of these so that I can say, okay, this is this one little animal and all of the layers which I have. And I can put this into such a sleeve that I have all the components for this one animal in one place. So that I have then multiple of these sleeves and everything is in the right place. That feels not only very organized, but it is very organized and it is really helpful as well. So then when we have that, I think, Barbara, listen very carefully. The main thing that I like to do with these things, and that is for all of the die cuts which are existing in this world, not only these layered ones. I like to see these things not necessarily as what they are. Because when you look at this, so now I'm mixing from the different animals. Let's see. This is a second one of these. These are the wings from this one. So let's say you look at these pieces. And you could do that with all of the others as well. But I think as a first example, this is the best to show what I'm thinking when I see these. I like to see these as shapes instead of components of the animals. When I look at these, of course, when I put them like this or like this, they look like wings, yes. But I like to also turn them around or fold them in half like this, and suddenly they are not wings anymore, but something else. I think that is my main thing behind that I see these shapes and not necessarily the parts of the animals. This is not the top layer of the wings of the dragonfly for me anymore. It's something else. It's a shape. And that I use die cuts like this, I think I haven't even realized that when I started doing it. And the thing is, when I became a maker for Tim, he said to me that I use die cuts as shapes and that he likes that in my work. And that makes me very happy, of course. And that is how I came to this will that I want to see that more as shapes than the actual things which are on the package. To be honest, this here, I haven't prepared in my mind. I have prepared it here on my desk with the materials, obviously, otherwise I couldn't do this, but I haven't prepared this in my mind yet because I wanted this to be very, very intuitive and very close to the reality. And close to the reality is also that sometimes when you cut from a very delicate material, like this canvas material here, for example, the things tear apart. So this here doesn't look anymore like it should look if you look to the package, but that is good because this can also bring me to the idea that these now look like petals of a flower. And that is what I want to do first, because when I see these, I immediately think about flowers. Why don't we take some of these? And they don't necessarily have to be from the same animal. You can see these are different sizes. That makes it really, really interesting, I think. Perhaps like this. Shall we? This is the smaller one. So that is then this here. So let's see, which color do we have here. I have, by the way, cut these from some papers I had laying around here. This is mostly watercolor paper where I had spritzed some things on, and some of these papers I also got from a really, really dear friend. She's I Feel Crafty too on social media. Her name is Dani. Dani, if you see this, thank you so much, because this is just so helpful to have. We talked about this the other day, that I said I normally I should sit here. Ooh! Oh no. I'm so sorry. That is probably what Barbara said when she said this stupid gluing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, I was talking to Dani. And I said I should sit down here, cut some things, you know, some die cuts, but I would need to color some papers first so that I have some nice papers to cut from. And then she said, I have a ton of papers which I just wanted to throw away, or where I don't know where I can put them, and I can send them to you. And I was like, what can you do? I was like, you know, nearly freaking out when she offered that to me. And this is what I have here now. And the things are, you know, most of these things are cut from her papers. So Dani, if you see this, thank you so much again. I was so happy she has sent a whole envelope with these colored papers, and that's just amazing. So then, do you know what? I'm struggling a little bit, and that is good, because this is close to reality, as close to reality as I can do it. When you glue on the glass mat and you get glued to the glass, then obviously it's pretty hard to get this off because the glue starts to dry. And I wanted to glue on here, but then I saw that you can't see anything, so let me quickly move the mat. Try to get a non-stick mat where you have these things where you can glue, and then, you know, you can peel it off. Even if this would dry on here, you could then peel it off very easily without tearing this. So this is our first thing. Does this necessarily need to become a flower later? No, but when I like this, I can turn it into a flower. I can turn it into something totally different. I could, for example, take a paper doll, because who doesn't love paper dolls with wings? This is just cool. Could you combine this with fuzzy cut butterflies as another layer where then these peek out behind the butterfly? Obviously, yes. Could you take, and as you can see, I'm trying to give you some examples. I will not assemble every single example I give you here today because that is not possible. Then this video would take a week or so. Could you add some fabric flowers additionally here? Oh no, he looks a little bit like Mickey Mouse. But obviously that would be a solution as well. Could you take this and give him something like this here to make the flower complete? Obviously, yes. Perhaps not in this color. Ooh, perhaps also not in this color. What about green? Perhaps with a little bit of green, like so. That is just wonderful, isn't it? So, yeah, then let's see. What else can we do? I want to have more of these which remind to flowers. So let's see how we could do that with the other pieces. For example, this piece here looks somehow like a flower petal as well. And of course we could take a little circle. Let's see how that would look. Yeah, why not? That makes it perhaps also a little easier to glue because, you know, Barbara said it's difficult to glue these. What I also like to do is I like to take these things. Let's find a nice color combination. Perhaps both of these could go well together. And then I like to, you can do that with different shapes or obviously with the same shapes. I like to place them somehow on top of each other, like so, for example, to see which shape I will then get. I think I want to take a base for a belly band. So I have these from our compartmental making live stream. By the way, if you have missed that live stream, you can still watch the replay. Perhaps this one. This purple, is that really the right color here? What do you think? Or should we better take... Yeah, we will take this green. I will put a little bit of glue here. Spread this. Dip this in here. So this way I can make sure that I have the glue everywhere where I want it. And then I can just take it and glue it here. So then we said these look somehow like flowers. Okay, could you leave them like this? Obviously, but I want to go a step further. I want to take some of these fabric flowers and combine them with not this one, with these. You could obviously also take some other die cut flowers if you have some. I've also cut these. Let's see if some of these could work size-wise and color-wise so that you have some ideas if you don't have these fabric flowers. I already really like that, but is that the right color? Yeah, I think I like this better. And shall we add another layer behind here as well? Oh yes, I like this better. Of course, you could also additionally stamp to these. You could emboss these layers with embossing powder. You could also add little pieces of lace or so in between of those layers, and I think I will also do that in a second. I also have these. I bought these on Amazon. Yeah, okay, that's good. Oh. Very unexpected. Okay, so then let's think, can we make this even more interesting by adding some fabric or lace pieces? I like this material a lot. I got this in a Happy Mail, and this is really cool, even if I don't know how this is called. Somehow like this. Before I glue this together, I like to think about something, and that's stamping. Why don't we take this stamp here? This comes from Flower Jar CMS 297 by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. And I think something like ground espresso would be really nice for this. So I will quickly glue all of these layers together just by putting some glue in between of the single layers, and then, you know, glue them in the order we've just decided for. We could also think about something for the center here. For example, a brad, especially with these fabric flowers. It can be helpful to have a brad in the middle, because then you don't have to press this down until the glue is dry, but you can just use the brad as a little clamp. And yes, this is a snowflake brad, but I think that fits really well to this white area which we have here. This one I will just assemble like it is without stamping, because I really like how this looks. This would also be really cute, I would say. Oh, Barbara, what do you think? And with this, you have the perfect belly band. This needs to dry. So then, let's go on. What else can we do? Let's take this. And then perhaps we could put this on a little tag or so. Let's perhaps do these three simultaneously, then we can later on see what we like best. So I'm going to try this thing with the same stamp set. It already has these little jars, but we don't need them because we have our vases here. And here we could obviously also think about taking parts of this to put behind here so that these slots are not empty. So when I have my color combinations, I take these, take my glue, and I will just assemble these now like they are meant to assemble. So this here is meant to go on here. And then this obviously doesn't look like a vase anymore. So we take our scissors, cut around here. Don't throw these tiny pieces away. Perhaps you want, ooh, I just saw what you could do with them. Perhaps you want to do something with these. You could even consider leaving these here. I will try that. You could even do it like this. Why not? This leg here is now not a leg anymore, but it's the handle of the vase. You can, you know, take it away like so. I know this is abstract, yes. These could be parts of the flowers which will go into the vase in a second. If you have, where are my tweezers? If you have cut this off before noticing that you could also leave it on there, you could take this little piece and, of course, imagine this wasn't here because you have cut it off. You could also then glue it back on here like so. That also, oh, that looks even better because this is the better position for this. Yeah, so let's do that here. Cut both of them off. Let's have these in mind to glue them here later. And before we cut these, let's stamp here, because then we can perhaps better decide what to do next. If you have tiny die cuts, which are flowers, you could use them here as well, obviously, in this moment. The background is probably a little bit too busy for this, but we will now live with this and make the best out of it. If I would do this again, I would choose a calmer background or think about embossing these flowers with embossing powder so that they pop out more from the background. But we are very clever. Yeah, okay, here's the solution. I have these little flowers here. They are made from some rubber plastic stuff. You see, they are really flexible. Ooh! And with this, we have this connection color-wise to the vase. Ta-da! This is somehow really retro, isn't it? So then, what about this? I think here, because we already have seen this thing with the handles, I want to do something else. I will cut this out like so. And I will also cut this off. We will save these. I will do the same for this one. And then here the background is not so busy. So let's see if that can work better. I will just do the same thing, taking the same stamps and stamp another little bouquet with these. This is busier than I thought. Ooh, but I like this. And it's accidentally, I stamped a little too low, but who cares? This is cool. Oh my goodness, look, this is now somehow behind the vase, but that makes it somehow interesting, doesn't it? I really like this, even if it's so busy. Oh yes. Okay, so then, what are we going to do then? Let's glue these down. Since I have this paint here, and I think it fits two of these colors as well, let's just use this up and splatter here a little bit as well. Then we let this dry, because here it's now something where I think something is still missing here. This is definitely not done, but in the moment I don't have an idea how I want to go on. So I take the drying time to put this out of my way, and then I don't look at it anymore, you know, and when I then come back to it, I can probably have an idea what I want to do with it. So then, after we have cut these up, we have all of these pieces left. And this is a point where I think this whole thing gets really interesting, because here we can now obviously play around a lot. This is the perfect butterfly. What if we take this piece, because now I see this shape in combination with this. This is a new shape now because we have cut the rest off. So let's take this and turn that into a new shape as well, because that is also something I really, really like to do with these. cut them up and make something new. This could be a stone. Look, this is the perfect stone. Or, ooh, the head of a mushroom, for example. I'm sorry. This is how my brain works. Take this. Take this, cut it apart. Because then this fits on here perfectly. Thank you, Tim. Take this. This way it fits even better. So that all of these holes are then turquoise and you can't see through them anymore. Cut this off. And if I found out that this works and that you can assemble it like this, I would probably make more than one mushroom in this moment. Yeah, in my reality, it would then be like a little mass making of these mushrooms, or at least a little note or so that I can remember later how I made this, even if it's also, yeah, really easily identifiable which pieces you have used, I think. Mushroom. Back to the butterfly. Originally I want, oh no, now I need another one of these because I need two. Wait, what did I have here a second ago? But that is here at the moment. It's happening exactly what I find so crazily interesting and exciting about these things with the layered die cuts, because when you start this, you think, how the heck shall I do this and what do I want to do with this? And then as soon as you start cutting these up and try to, you know, cut through them and look at the shapes and try to see what you can get, or also accept that these little holes didn't want to come out, leave this in there. Yeah, if it doesn't want to come out, who cares? So here is our butterfly. We need now something to make the people see that it is a butterfly. We could either take this as a body or take this little unorganized container. I have some butterflies and some moths in here. Ooh. These colors fit really well. Something smaller would also work. This is probably a little bit too dark for my taste. That is too red. But wait, what if we combine the moth, the butterfly, and these? What if we take these, use the moth as a base layer, put this on here? That is also a good idea, because then these little things have something underneath and they can't get destroyed so easily. I mean, we will glue this into a journal later probably, yes, but in any case, I like to have that protected somehow. This is already pretty good, but these, let's take this one here. Look, this makes me happy. Can we also include these little pieces, which we've cut off? Here. Oh, yes. So that means we take this off and feelers. Because when I use the original feelers here, I will definitely not put another of these pieces here, because that would look really weird. Then it would look like the butterfly had feelers here as well, and that makes no sense for me. So I take these little things and glue them here. And then this. this can also look really nice if you would include some transparent layers. For example, butterflies or moths printed on overhead transparency. That could look really, really great. But I also love this. This is, oh, what do you think? Yeah, okay. I mean, then you could, of course, obviously also think, what do I already have here? And as I said, this is only just a few examples. You could take what you already have and then think, how could I combine these? Yeah, for example, don't see this as a vase anymore, but put this here. Or let's make an example. Let's imagine you don't like this. Yeah, let's say you have tried it out and that is good. You have made the experience that you don't like it. You suddenly don't like this vase anymore or whatever. Take this, put this over here, and perhaps you like it then. Or just let it lay here for a while and think, what else could I do with my other shapes when I see this? For example, you could take this and this original piece, you know, where we have cut the vase from, and then you could even do it like this. Or if you then say, I want this other body piece there as well, probably not in this color, but just for demonstration, you could, of course, then also say, I do it like this. Definitely not in this color. This looks terrible, but I think you know what I mean and you got the idea. You could also say, I have a flower and I take my butterfly moth and I combine that somehow. Let's say you have not put this here. I mean, now we would cover it up. Also, no problem. It would make it really bulky if there were unnecessary layers in between, but this would also be a possibility to combine this. Or let's say you have the pieces and you like this the best and this the best. These are your two favorites. Take another belly band, take another of these, the dragonflies, and then combine it like so, obviously without this flower. That is perhaps a little bit crazy combination because it's too much purple. But this is really cool. Okie dokie, so we are close to the end for this session, I think, but what I want to see is what about these now? Because this is something which is definitely not finished yet. Because I'm not so satisfied with this yet. This looks now pretty weird because this is the wrong color. It doesn't look like a vase anymore. It could be part of the animal somehow, but the color is weird. We have this gold here. So let's take some gilding wax. If this is now part of the body of this sounds very arrogant now, but if this doesn't convince Barbara, then I will need to sit here and cry because this is really cool. I really like this. The next problem is if she won't be convinced by this, I would need to get a jelly plate after I have sold mine because I hate jelly printing. And I don't know what I shall think about that. And why do I hate jelly printing? That's easy, because it takes forever until the single layers are dry. When I want jelly print effects or something which is similar to that, I have something which I call fake jelly printing. For that you don't need a jelly plate, and it's faster. You don't have to wait for the layers to dry, at least not so long like with a real jelly plate. And yeah, that is what I like to do. And that is probably a little bit weird, but I'm really hoping that I don't need to get another jelly plate. That is my honest opinion, because I don't want to do this. But perhaps she will like this. And perhaps she will then also buy a set of layered die cuts, or perhaps she will appreciate what I will send to her, because I decided that I will send her a set. I will go to a shop in a second where we can buy these things, and then I will decide for one. It will probably be this, because I think I have the feeling she will like this. And then I will send it to her as a gift, and then, well, is that then cheating? I don't know. I don't want to force her, is that the right word? Hopefully, to do this, but to be honest, I'm pretty sure that she will like these things as well. If you want to craft something like this and share that, then please tag Barbara and myself, for example, on Instagram or so that we can then see that and see what you have created. I will probably go on here for a while now with my other pieces. I have a ton of cutouts left over, so perhaps you want to see my desk from a little another perspective. Look. So I will see what I can do with all of these, and then you will also probably see some of these again in some of my future videos, because I am planning to put some of these into my Come On Chameleon journal. And then, you know, if you follow my channel, you know this journal already, you know perhaps the paper collection Come On Chameleon. If not, you can find that in my shop. You can also find the butterflies and the moths in my shop, which I've used here, if you want to check those out. As I said, this can only be like, you know, a little example of what you could do with these. If you want to see more, let me know, and I will make a second video, third video, you know, a little series or whatever you want to see. So, Barbara, hopefully you have watched carefully, and now I want to know what you think about this. Bye-bye.